talking all week about your sermon last Sunday. It's really wonderful, Dr. Harper. In only 2 short years, you've taken on the spirit of Brooklyn.
That's very gratifying, Miss Brewster.
You see, living here next to the church all our lives, we've seen so many ministers come and go. The spirit of Brooklyn, we always say, is friendliness, and your sermons are not so much sermons as friendly talks.
Personally, I've always enjoyed my talks with Cardinal Gibbons. Or have I met him yet?
No, dear, not yet. Are the biscuits good?
Believe!
Won't you have another biscuit, Dr. Harper?
Oh no, I'm afraid I'll have no appetite for dinner. I always eat 2 of your biscuits just to taste that lovely jam.
But you haven't tried the quince. We always put a little apple in with it to take the tartness out.
No, thank you.
We'll send you over a jar.
No, you keep it there so be sure of having your biscuits with it.
I do hope they don't make us use that imitation flour again. I mean, with this war trouble.
If only Europe were another planet.
Europe, sir?
Teddy.
No, Aunt Abby, less talk about Europe and more about the canal.
Well, let's not talk about war. Will you have another cup of tea, dear?
No, Aunt Abby, no thank you.
Dr. Harper.
No, thank you. I must admit that war and violence are far removed from these surroundings.
It is peaceful here, isn't it?
Yes, peaceful. The virtues of Notre Dame, they're all here in this house. The gentle virtues that went out, candlelight, good manners, and low taxes.
It's one of the oldest houses in Brooklyn. It's just as it was when Grandfather Brewster built and furnished it, except for the electricity, and we use it as little as possible. It was Mortimer who persuaded us to put it in.
Yes, I can understand that. Your nephew Mortimer seems to live only by electric light.
The poor boy has to work so late. I understand he's taking Elaine with him to the theater again tonight. Teddy, your brother Mortimer will be here a little later.
Delighted!
We're so happy it's Elaine Mortimer takes to the theater with him.
Well, it's certainly a new experience for my daughter to be brought home at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Dr. Harper, I hope you don't disapprove of Mortimer.
Well,
we'd feel so guilty if you did, Sister Martha and I. I mean, since it was here in our home that your daughter met Mortimer.
Of course, Miss Abby. So I'll say immediately that I believe Mortimer to be quite a worthy gentleman. But I must also admit that I watched the growing intimacy between him and my daughter with some trepidation. For one reason, Miss Abby.
You mean his stomach, Dr. Harper?
Stomach?
His dyspepsia. He's bothered with it so. Poor boy.
No, Miss Abby. I'll be frank with you. I'm talking about your nephew's unfortunate connection with the theater.
The theater? Oh no, Dr. Harper. Mortimer writes for a New York newspaper.
I know, Miss Abby, I know, but a dramatic critic is constantly exposed to theater, and I don't doubt that some of you do develop an interest in it.
Well, not Mortimer. You need have no fear of that. Why, Mortimer hates the theater.
Really?
Oh, yes. He writes awful things about the theater, but you can't blame him, poor boy. He was so happy writing about real estate, which he really knew something about, and then you just made him take this terrible night position.
My.
But, as he says, the theater can't last much longer anyway, and in the meantime, it's a living. Yes, I think if we give the theater another year or two, perhaps... Well now, who do you suppose that is? No, thank you, Teddy, I'll go. Come in, Mr. Brophy.
Hello, Miss Brewster.
How are you, Mr. Clark?
Very well, Miss Brewster.
What news have you brought me?
Colonel, we have nothing to report.
Splendid! Thank you, gentlemen. At ease?
You know Dr. Harper.
Sure, hello, Dr. Harper. We came for the toys for the Christmas fund.
Oh, yes.
What splendid work you gentlemen do, fixing up discarded toys for poor children a happy Christmas.
Well, you get so bored sitting around the station. I mean, you're playing cards, and then you're cleaning your gun, and then you shot yourself in the foot.
On God!
Go upstairs and get that big box from your Aunt Martha's room. How is Mrs. Brophy today? Mrs. Brophy has been quite ill, Dr. Harper.
Pneumonia.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Sword!
shouldn't go to all that trouble.
Listen, try to stop her or her sister from doing something nice, and for nothing, they don't even care how you vote.
When I received my call to Brooklyn and moved next door, my wife wasn't well. And when she died, well, for some months before, if I know what pure kindness and absolute generosity are, it's because I know the Brewster sisters.
Yes. Colonel, you promised not to do that!
But I have to call a cabinet meeting to get the release of those supplies!
He used to do that in the middle of the night. The neighbors raced to keep with us. They're all a little afraid of him anyway.
Oh, he's quite harmless.
I mean, suppose he does think he's Teddy Roosevelt. There's a lot worse people you can think he was.
A damn shame. A nice family like theirs, hatching a cuckoo.
Well, I mean, the father, the girl's sister, he was some sort of a genius, wasn't he? And their father, Teddy's grandfather, I've heard he was a little crazy too.
Yeah, he was crazy like a fox. He made $1 million.
Really? Here in Brooklyn?
Yeah, patent medicine. He was a quack of some sort. Old Sergeant Edwards remembers him. He used the house here as some sort of clinic to try to mad at people.
Yeah, I hear he used to make mistakes occasionally too.
Yeah, but the department never bothered him because he was pretty useful in autopsies sometimes, especially poison cases.
Well, whatever he did, he left his sisters fixed for life. Thank God for that.
I'm more acquainted with their charities, actually.
You don't know the half of it. When I was with the Missing Persons Bureau, we were looking for this old gentleman. We never really did find him, but anyway, did you know that there's a renting agency that has this house on its list for furnished rooms? They don't rent rooms, they're just so nice that you can bet if someone comes in here looking for a room, they'll leave with a good meal and a few dollars in their kit.
Yeah, it's just their way of digging up people to do some good to.
Well now, isn't this nice?
Oh, hello, Miss Brewster.
Hello, Mr. Brophy, Dr. Harper, Mr. Klein.
How are you, Miss Brewster? We dropped in to get the Christmas toys.
Ah yes, Teddy's Army and Navy, they're all packed, they wear out.
Yeah, the colonel's upstairs after them. Seems the cabinet has to okay it.
Oh yes, well, I hope Mrs. Brophy's better.
Ah, she's doing fine, man. Her sister's getting me some beef broth to take to her.
Oh, we just made it this morning. I took it to an old man who broke ever so many bones.
Oh, you're back, Martha. How was Mr. Vinitsky?
Well, dear, it's pretty serious, I'm afraid. The doctor was there. He's going to operate in the morning.
Can we be present?
Unfortunately, no. He says it's against company policy.
Here's the broth, Mr. Brophy. Be sure it's good and hot.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, we'll be off, miss, but thank you so much.
Not at all. Goodbye.
I must be getting home too.
Before you go, Dr. Harper.
John! John Blockhouse!
The blockhouse?
The stairs are always San Juan Hill.
Have you ever tried to persuade him that he wasn't Teddy Roosevelt?
No.
He's so happy being Teddy Roosevelt.
Once a long time ago, remember, Martha, we thought if you would be George Washington, it might be a change for him.
But then he hid under his bed for days and wouldn't be anybody.
And we'd so much rather he'd be Mr. Roosevelt than nobody.
Well, if he's happy, and most importantly, you're happy, you'll see that he signs these.
Oh, what are they?
Dr. Harper has made all arrangements for Teddy to go to Happy Dale Sanitarium after we pass on.
But why must he sign them now?
It's better to have it all settled. If the Lord should take you away suddenly, perhaps we couldn't persuade Teddy to commit himself. That would mean a long, unpleasant legal procedure. Mr. Witherspoon understands to be filed away until time comes to use them.
Oh, Mr. Witherspoon, who's he?
He's the superintendent of Happydale.
Dr. Harper has arranged for him to drop in tomorrow or the next day to meet Teddy.
I must be running along now, or Elaine will be over here looking for me.
Give our love to Elaine and Dr. Harper. Please don't think harshly of Mortimer because he's a dramatic critic. Somebody has to do those things.
Did you just have tea? Isn't it rather late?
Yes, and dinner's going to be late too.
So, why?
Oh, and Teddy, good news for you. You're going to Panama and dig another lump for the canal.
Ah, delighted, bully, that's just bully. I shall prepare at once.
Abby,
John!
while I was out.
Yes, dear, I just couldn't wait for you. I didn't know when you'd be back and Dr. Harper was coming.
But all by yourself.
I got along fine.
I'll run right downstairs to the cellar and see.
No, dear, there wasn't time, and I was all alone.
So,
Martha, just look in the window seat.
meet him here. Do you mind if I wait?
Not at all.
Why don't you sit down, dear?
But we really must speak to Mortimer about doing this to you.
Doing what?
Well, he was brought up to know better. When a man wants to take a woman out, he should call for her at her house.
Oh, there's something about calling for a girl at a parsonage that discourages any man who doesn't order.
He's done this too often. We're going to speak to him.
Oh, please don't. After a young man whose idea of nightlife is to take me out to prayer meeting, it's wonderful going to the theater almost every night of my life.
It's comforting for us, too, because if Mortimer has to see some of those plays he has to see, at least he's sitting next to a minister's daughter.
My goodness, Elaine, what must you think of us? Not having tea carried away by this time.
Oh, don't worry about it, Abby. When Mortimer comes, I'll help you. He should be here any minute now.
Oh, Father must have been surprised not to find me at home. I'd better run over and tell him good night.
It's a shame you missed him.
If Mortimer comes, tell him I will be right back. Oh, hello, Mort.
Hello, Elaine. Hello, Aunt Martha.
Abby, Mortimer's here.
Oh, were you going somewhere?
I was going to tell Father not to wait up for me.
Oh, I didn't know that was still being done, even in Brooklyn.
Hello, Mortimer.
Hello, Aunt Abby.
How are you, dear?
All right, and you look well. You haven't changed much since yesterday.
My goodness, it was yesterday, wasn't it? And we're seeing a great deal of you lately. Well, come, sit down, sit down.
Abby, haven't we got something to do in the kitchen? The tea things. We have tea things to do in the kitchen.
Oh, yes. Yes, the tea things. Well, you two just make yourselves at home.
Make yourselves at home, yes.
Well, can't you take a hint?
Oh, that was pretty obvious. A lack of inventiveness, I should say.
Of course, that's what you'd say.
Where do you want to go for dinner?
I don't care. Not very hungry.
Well, I just had breakfast. Suppose we wait until after the show?
That'll make it pretty late, won't it?
Not with the little stinker we're seeing tonight. From what I've heard, we'll be at Blake's by 10 o'clock.
Mortimer, you ought to be fair to this place.
Are these plays fair to me?
I have never seen you walk out in a musical.
That musical isn't opening tonight, dear.
No?
No, with a musical there are always 3 postponements and 4 changes of title. They liked it in New Haven, but it needs a lot of work.
Oh. I was hoping it was a musical.
You have such a light mind.
Not at all. After a play, we join the proletariat in the train, and you give me a lecture on the drama. After a musical, you make a few passes, and you take me home in a taxi.
Now, wait a minute, darling. That's a very inaccurate piece of reporting.
I will admit that after the Berman play, you told me I had authentic beauty. And that's a hell of a thing to say to a girl. It wasn't until after our first musical, you told me I had nice legs. And that's a hell of a thing to say to a girl, too.
I've never been able to rationalize it.
What?
By falling in love with a girl who lives in Brooklyn.
Falling in love. You're not stupidly articulate, are you?
The only way I can regain my self-respect is to keep you in New York.
Did you say keep?
No. I've come to the conclusion that you're holding out for legalities.
I can afford to be a good girl for quite a few years.
And I can't wait that long. Where can we be married in a hurry? Say, tonight?
I'm afraid Father will insist on officiating.
Oh, God. I bet your father can make even the marriage service sound pedestrian.
Are you by any chance writing a review of it?
Forgive me, darling. It's an occupational disease. I may have to give that play tonight a good notice.
Now don't pretend you love me that much.
Oh, and be sure to tell your father not to wait up tonight.
Oh, I think I'd better tell him to wait up tonight.
I'll telephone Winchell to publish the banns.
Nevertheless.
All right, everything formal and legal, but no later than next month.
Darling, I'll talk it over with Father and set the date.
We'll have to see what's in rehearsal. There will be a lot of other first nights in October.
Ah, yes. Hello, Mortimer.
How are you, Mr. President?
Very well. What news have you brought me?
Just this, Mr. President. Your country is squarely behind you.
Yes, I know! Isn't it wonderful? Well, I must be off. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Where are you off to, Teddy?
Panama!
Panama's the settler. He likes to dig locks for the canal down there.
You're very kind to him. He's very fond of you.
Well, Teddy always was my favorite brother.
Favorite? Were there more of you?
There's another brother, Jonathan.
Jonathan. I've never heard of him. Your aunts never mentioned him.
No, we don't like to talk about Jonathan. He left Brooklyn very early, by request. Jonathan was the kind of boy that would cut worms in two, with his teeth.
So, what became of him?
I don't know. He wanted to become a surgeon like grandfather, but he wouldn't go to medical school first, and his practice got him in a lot of trouble.
Aren't you two going to be late for the theater?
Oh, we're skipping dinner. We won't have to go for another half an hour.
Well, in that case, I'll leave you two alone together
Oh,
again.
don't bother, darling. Father, I'd better go tell him good night. Every time I go out with you, he likes to pray over me a little. I'll be right back. I'll cut to the cemetery.
Well, if the prayers didn't take too long, I'd have time to lead you beside still waters.
Mortimer, that's the first time I've ever heard you quote the Bible. We knew Elaine would be a good influence for you.
Oh, by the way, I'm gonna marry her.
What? Oh, darling! Martha, come right in here. I've got the most wonderful news for you. Mortimer and Elaine are going to be married.
Married! Oh, Mortimer!
We hoped it would happen just like this.
Well, Elaine must be the happiest girl in the world.
Happy? Just look at her leaping over those gravestones. By the way, I left a large envelope here last week. It was on my chapter on Thoreau. Have you seen it?
Well, if you left it here, it must be here somewhere.
When are you going to be married? What are your plans? There must be something more you can tell us about Elaine.
Elaine? Oh, yes. Elaine thought it was brilliant.
What was, dear?
I chaptered on Thoreau.
Well, when Elaine comes back, I think we ought to have a little celebration. We must drink to your happiness. Martha, isn't there some of that Lady Baltimore cake left?
Oh, yes, yes.
And I'll open a bottle of wine.
And to think it happened in this room.
Where could I have put that?
Well, with your fiancé sitting beside you tonight, I do hope the play will be something you can enjoy for once. It may be something romantic. What's the name of it?
Murder Will Out.
Oh, dear.
Yes, when the curtains open, the first thing you'll see on stage is a dead body. Yeah, okay. Aunt Abby, come in here.
Yes, dear, what is it?
You know how we were gonna make plans for Teddy to go to that sanitarium?
Yes,
Abbeydale?
it's all arranged. Dr. Hart, who was here today, and he brought the papers for Teddy to sign. Here they are.
Well, he's got to sign them right away.
That's what Dr. Harper thinks. Then there won't be any legal difficulties after we pass.
No, he's got to sign it this minute. Where's he? The cellar? Get him up here.
There's no such hurry as that.
No, when Teddy starts working on the canal, you can't get his mind on anything else.
Teddy's got to go to Happydale now, tonight.
Oh, no, dear, that's not until after we're gone.
No, right away, I tell you, right away.
Why, Mortimer, how can you say such a thing? Why, as long as we live, we'll never be separated from Teddy.
Listen, darlings, I'm frankly sorry, but I have some shocking news for you. Now, we've all got to try and keep our heads. We sort of humored Teddy because we thought he was harmless.
Why, he is harmless.
He was harmless. That's why he has to go to Happydale. Why he has to be confined.
Mortimer, why have you suddenly turned against Teddy, your own brother?
Well, you've got to know sometime. It might as well be now. Teddy's killed a man.
Nonsense, dear.
There's a body in the window seat.
Yes, dear, we know.
You know?
Yes, well, it has nothing to do with Teddy.
Now, Mortimer, just forget about it. Forget you ever saw the gentleman.
Forget?
We never dreamed you'd be.
But who is he?
His name's Hoskins. Adam Hoskins. that he's a Methodist.
That's all you know about him? Well, what's he doing here? What happened to him?
He died.
Martha, men don't just get into window seats and die.
No, he died first.
Well, how?
Mortimer, don't be so inquisitive. The gentleman died because he drank some wine with poison in it.
How did the poison get in the wine?
Well, I put it in the wine because when it was in the tea, it had a very distinct odor.
You put it in the wine?
Yes, and I put Mr. Hoskins in the window seat because Dr. Harper was coming.
So you knew what you'd done. You didn't want Dr. Harper to see the body.
Well, not at tea. That wouldn't have been very nice. Now, Mortimer, you know the whole thing. Just forget about it. I do think Martha and I have the right to our own little secret.
And don't you tell Elaine!
City desk? Yes, hello, Al. Do you know who this is? That's right. Listen, when I was leaving, do you remember where I said I was going? That's right. And it would take me about half an hour to get to Brooklyn. What time have you got? No, I must be here, Al. All right. On Abby, on Martha, come in here. What are we going to do? What are we going to do?
What are we going to do about what, dear?
There's a body in there.
Yes, Mr. Hoskins.
Well, good heavens, I can't turn you into the police, but what am I going to do?
Well, for one thing, dear, stop being so excited.
And for pity's sake, stop worrying. We told you to forget the whole thing.
Forget. Aunt Abby, how can I make you realize that something needs to be done?
Now, Mortimer, you behave yourself. And you're too old to be flying off the handle like this.
But Mr. Hotchkiss.
Hoskins, dear.
Well, whatever his name is, you can't just leave him in there.
We don't intend to, dear.
No, Teddy's down in the cellar now, digging the lock.
You're going to bury Mr. Hotchkiss in the cellar?
Well, yes, that's what we did with the others.
No, you can't bury Mr. Others?
The other gentleman.
When you say others, do you mean others? As in more than one others?
Oh, yes, dear, let me see now. This is, 12?
Yes, dear, this makes 12 and not 11 like you used to say.
Well, no, I think this is only 11.
Oh, no, dear, because I remember when Mr. Hoskins first came in, it occurred to me that he would make just an even dozen.
No, I really don't think you should count the first one.
Oh, I was counting the first one, so that makes it 12.
Hello, Hal. Oh, it is good to hear your voice. Listen.
But anyway, they're all down.
No, Al, I'm as sober as a lark. Listen, I need you to get a hold of George. Yes, he's got to cover the play tonight. I can't make it. Listen, I need you to do that for me, all right? Okay, goodbye. Oh, okay. Sorry. Where were we? 12.
Yes, well, Abby thinks we should count the first one, and that makes 12.
Well, who was the first one?
Mr. Midgley, he was a Baptist. You see, he came here looking for a room.
It was right after you moved to New York.
And it didn't seem right for that lovely room to be going to waste when there were so many people who needed it.
He was such a lonely old man.
Oh, his kith and kin were dead, and it left him so forlorn and unhappy.
We felt so sorry for him.
And then when his heart attack came, and he sat there dead in that chair, looking so peaceful, remember, Martha, we decided then and there that if we could help other lonely old men to that same peace, we would.
So he dropped dead right in that chair. How awful for you.
Well, no, dear, it was quite usual. When your grandfather was alive, there was always a cadaver or two around the house. Anyways, well, Teddy thought that it was a yellow fever victim,
So that's how all this started. That man walking in here and dropping dead.
Of course, we realized we couldn't depend on that happening again. So, you remember all those jars of poison up in Grandfather's old laboratory, and you know your Aunt Martha's knack for mixing things, and you've eaten enough of her piccalilli.
Well, for each gallon of elderberry wine, I would take 1 teaspoon of arsenic, half of cyanide, and then just a pinch of strychnine.
Should have quite a kick.
Yes, as a matter of fact, one of our gentlemen found time to say, "How delicious."
Yes, well, I really should get back to the kitchen.
I'll go and help you, dear.
I'm trying out a new recipe.
Well, I feel so much better now. Oh, you have to wait for Elaine, don't you? How happy you must be. Well, I'll leave you alone with your thoughts.
It's you.
Oh, don't be cross, darling. Father could see that I was excited, and that made it pretty hard for me to leave. But listen, he's not going to wait up for me tonight.
Look, Elaine, you just run along home, all right? I'll call you up tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
You know, I always call you up every day or two.
But we're going to the theater tonight.
No, dear, we're not.
What? Well, why not?
Look, Elaine, something's come up.
What? Remember, you've lost your job.
Oh, no, I haven't lost my job. It's just that I'm not covering the play tonight, so you just run along home.
Well, certainly you can tell me.
No, dear, I can't.
But if we're going to be married...
Married?
Have you forgotten that not 15 minutes ago you proposed to me?
I did? Oh, yes, I did. Well, as far as I know, that's still on, but listen, you just run along home, all right?
Listen, you can't propose to me 1 minute and then throw me out of the house the next.
I'm not throwing you out of the house, darling. Will you get out of here?
No, I will not get out of here, not until I receive some kind of explanation.
Elaine. All right, now just hold on. I understand it's important, but it can wait. Just hold on. Look, Elaine, you're a sweet girl, and I love you very much. It's just that something's on my mind now, and I want you to go home and wait until I call you.
Don't try to be master.
I'm not being... Look, Elaine, when we're married and I have problems to face, I hope you'll be less tedious and uninspired.
And when we're married, if we're married, I hope I find you adequate.
Elaine. Al, hello? Al, hello, are you there?
That's the doorbell, dear, not the telephone. Oh, come in.
I understand you have a room to rent. My name is Gibbs.
Oh, won't you sit down? I'm sorry, we were just setting the table for dinner.
May I see the room?
Why don't you sit down a bit and let us get acquainted?
Well, that won't do much good if I don't like the room.
Is Brooklyn your home?
I haven't got a home. Live in a hotel. Don't like it.
Are your family Brooklyn people?
I haven't got any family.
All alone in the world?
Yep.
Well, Martha. Well, you've come to just the right house. Do sit down.
Are you a church-going man? There's an Episcopal church practically next door.
I'm Presbyterian. Used to be.
What's George doing in Bermuda? Well, certainly, I told him he could go to Bermuda. It's my department. I'm running it, aren't I? All right, well, can you find someone else around the office?
Is there always this much noise?
Oh, he doesn't live with us.
There's gotta be someone. Al, how about the office boy? You know, the bright one. The one we don't like? Al, just keep looking, I'll hold on.
Look, I'd really like to see the room.
It's upstairs. Won't you try a glass of our wine before we start up?
No, never touch it.
It's elderberry wine.
We make it ourselves.
Elderberry wine. That reminds me of my childhood. I haven't had elderberry wine since I was a little boy. Thank you. Do you have your elderberry bushes?
No, but the cemetery is full of them.
Do you serve meals?
We might, but first just see whether you like...
Mortimer?
Not that.
Wait, stop! No, get out of here! Run for your life!
Now you've spoiled everything!
Aunt Abby, how can I make you realize that you can't do things like that? Not only is it illegal, it's wrong. It's not a very nice thing to do. People wouldn't understand. He wouldn't understand.
Abby, we shouldn't have told Mortimer.
What I'm saying is, this has developed into a very bad habit.
We don't try to stop you from doing things you like to do. I don't see why you should interfere with us.
Hello? Alright, fine. I'll see the first act and pan the hell out of it. Just, Al, could you do one thing for me? Yes, could you get a hold of O'Brien? You know, our lawyer, head of our legal department? Yes, tell him to meet me at the theater. Alright, I just need that, okay? Alright, I'm starting now. Look, darlings, I need to go to the theater. I can't seem to get out of it. But, before I go, can you promise to do one thing for me?
It depends on what it is, dear.
I love you very much, and I know you love me very much. You know I would do anything in the world to protect you. I just need you to do one small thing for me.
Well, what do you want us to do?
Don't do anything. Don't do anything. Don't let anyone in the house while I'm gone, and don't move Mr. Hoskins.
But why?
I want time to think, and I have quite a lot to think about. You know I wouldn't want anything to happen to me.
Well, what on earth could happen to us?
Anyways, you'll do this for me.
Well, we were planning on holding the services.
Services?
Mr. Hoskins is a Methodist. You don't expect us to marry him without a full Methodist service?
Well, can't that wait until after I get back?
Then you could join us.
Yes.
Mortimer, you'll enjoy the services, especially the hymns. Remember how beautifully Mortimer used to sing in the choir before his voice changed?
Alright, I'm leaving now, but before I go, promise you won't let anyone in, alright? Have you got any paper? Okay, this'll do. Listen, you know, maybe I can save some time if I write my review on the way there.
Well, Mortimer doesn't seem quite himself today.
Well, he's just become engaged to be married. I suppose that always makes a man nervous.
I do hope him and Elaine get some rest on their honeymoon. He didn't get any this summer.
Well, at least they didn't go kiting off to China or Spain.
I could never understand why he wanted to go to those places.
Well, I think to Mortimer, the theater has always seemed pretty small potatoes. He needs something big to criticize, something like the human race.
If Mortimer's going to join us for the services, we'll need another hymnal. There's one in my room.
Oh, you know, dear, it's really my turn to read the services. But since you weren't here when Mr. Hoskins came, I want you to do it.
Are you sure?
It's only fair.
All right, I'll get my black bombazine and mother's old brooch.
Oh, I'll go, dear.
But we promised Mortimer we wouldn't let anyone in.
Who do you suppose it is?
I don't know, let me look. It's two men. I've never seen them before, and there's a car parked on the curb. Why don't you take a look? Do you recognize them?
They're strangers to me.
We'll have to pretend like we're not here.
Come in, Doctor. This was the home of my youth. As a boy, I couldn't wait to escape from this place. Now I'm glad to escape back into it.
Yeah, Johnny. Sorry, I did not mean to interrupt you, but it's a nice hideout, I suppose.
Ah, the family must still live here. There's something so unmistakably Brewster about the Brewsters. I do hope there's a fatted calf awaiting the return of the prodigal.
Yeah, Johnny, I'm hungry.
Look, Johnny, drinks!
As though we were expected, a good omen.
Who are you? What are you doing here?
Oh, why, Aunt
Abby, Aunt Martha. It's me, Jonathan.
Oh, you get out of here.
You're not Jonathan.
It's Jonathan, your nephew, Jonathan.
You're nothing like him, so don't pretend you are.
But I am Jonathan. Oh, and this is Dr. Einstein.
And he's not Dr. Einstein either.
Oh, no, not Dr. Albert Einstein, Dr. Herman Einstein.
Who are you? You're not our nephew, Jonathan.
I see you're still wearing that lovely emerald ring that Grandma Brewster bought in England. And you, Aunt Martha, still the high collar to hide the scar from where grandfather's acid burned you.
His voice is like Jonathan's.
Have you been in an accident?
Oh, my face! Dr. Einstein is responsible for that. He's a plastic surgeon. He changes people's faces.
Oh, but I've seen that face before. Remember, Abby, we went to the movies with a little Schultz boy, and I was ever so terrified. It was that face.
Easy, Johnny, easy. Don't worry, ladies. The past 5 years, I give Johnny 3 new faces. I give him another one right away. As for the last face, I saw that picture too. Just before I operate, I was intoxicated.
You did this to me, Doctor.
Easy, Johnny, easy. You're home. It's this lovely house. How often he tells me about Brooklyn and the house that he loves so much. Don't worry, Johnny. They know you. You know it's Jonathan. Speak to him. Tell him so.
Oh. Well, Jonathan, it's been a long time. What have you been doing all these years?
Yes, where have you been, Jonathan?
Oh, you know, London, South Africa, Amsterdam, and the past 5 years, Chicago. Dr. Einstein and I were business together there.
We were in Chicago for the World's Fair.
Oh, we found it awfully warm.
It's got hot for us, too. Yes, well, it does feel awfully good to be back in Brooklyn again. And you, Aunt Abby, Martha, still the same old lady as I remember. Sweet, charming, hospitable. Oh, and what about dear Teddy? Did he ever get into politics? My younger brother, Doctor, he was determined to become president.
Teddy's fine, just fine, and Mortimer's well, too.
Ah, yes, I know all about Mortimer. I've seen the photo at the head of his column. It's evident he grew into his, early, nasty nature.
We're very fond of Mortimer.
Yes, well, we really should get back to the kitchen.
Yes, we mustn't let what's on the stove boil over.
Bless you, Aunt Martha. What did we do from here? Oh, the face, the picture. The police have a picture of that face. We need to find a place for me to operate on you. Oh, and we need to find a place for Mr. Spinazzo, too. Don't waste any worry on that rat. But we've got a hot spiff on our hands. Forget Mr. Spinazzo. You don't just leave a dead body in the rumble seat. You shouldn't have killed him, Johnny. He was a good fella. He gives us a lift. And then what happens? He said I looked like Frankenstein. You did that to me, Doctor. We find a place somewhere and I fix you up quick. Tonight. Tonight, Johnny, please. I'm hungry. I'm weak.
Well, Jonathan, we're glad that you remembered us and took the trouble to come in and say hello, but you were never happy in this house, and we were never happy while you were in it. So we just come in to say goodbye.
Goodbye, Jonathan.
Well, Aunt Abby, I can't say your feeling towards me comes as a surprise. I spent a great many hours regretting the heartaches I must have caused you as a boy.
You were quite a trial to us, Jonathan.
But my greatest disappointment is for Dr. Einstein. I promised him that no matter how rushed we were in passing through Brooklyn, that I'd bring him here for one of Aunt Martha's home-cooked dinners.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm afraid there wouldn't be enough.
Abby, it's a pretty good-sized pot roast.
Pot roast? Well, we'll hurry it along.
Yes. Thank you, Aunt Martha, Aunt Abby.
If you want to freshen up, why don't you use the washroom in Grandfather's old laboratory?
Is that still there?
Oh, yes, just as he left it. Well, I'll help Martha get things started, since we're all in a hurry.
You get to be allowed to it anyway. Grandfather's old laboratory, Doctor. And just as he left it, a perfect operating room.
Too bad we can't use it.
After you're finished with me, we can make a fortune. The large ward in the attic, the 10 beds. Oh, and Brooklyn is just crying out for your talents.
Why back yourself up, Johnny? And besides, I think that's for Brooklyn a year too late.
Doctor, you don't know this town. Practically everybody needs a new face.
Then all the old faces are locked up.
Oh, that's a small percentage. Besides, the boys in Brooklyn are famous for paying generously to stay out of jail.
Take it easy, Johnny. Your aunts, they don't want us here.
We're here for dinner, aren't we?
Yeah, but after dinner.
I'll handle it. Why, this place will be our headquarters for years.
That would be nice, Johnny. It's a nice, quiet house.
Oh, and your aunts, such lovely ladies, so sweet.
I get the bags, yeah?
Doctor, we must wait to be invited.
But he just said that.
We'll be invited.
And if they say no?
Doctor, two helpless old women.
Well, I guess this is a celebration. Oh, it comes true like a beautiful dream. Only, I hope you're not dreaming. It's so peaceful here.
That's exactly what's perfect about this house. It's so peaceful. Yes, aunties. Those 5 years in Chicago were among some of the busiest and happiest of my life.
And then from Chicago, we went to South Bend, Indiana.
They wouldn't be interested in our time in Indiana.
Well, Jonathan, you've led a very interesting life, I'm sure, but we really shouldn't have allowed you to talk so late.
My meeting Dr. Einstein in London, I must say, really did change the course of my life. As you know, I was in the diamond business in South Africa, and then diamond market in Amsterdam. I did always want to go back to Africa, and meeting Dr. Einstein made that possible for me.
A good job, Johnny. You know, when we take the bandages off his face, it's so different. The nurse had to introduce me.
Ah, yes, I love that face. I still carry a picture of it with me.
This looks more the way you used to look, but still I wouldn't know you.
I can go back to that face, Doctor.
Here, Johnny. Let me see that. Yeah, I think it's safe now.
Well, I know you both want to get to where you're going.
Well, Aunt Abby, I'm afraid I'm so full of that delicious food you made that I can't move a muscle.
Yeah, it's nice here.
After all, it's very late, and
Yes. I found it!
What did you find, Teddy?
The story of my life. My biography. Look, General, this is the picture I was telling you about. Here we are, the both of us. General Googles and President Roosevelt at the Culebra Cut. That's me, General, yes, and that is you.
My, how I've changed?
Yes, well, this picture obviously hasn't been taken yet. We haven't even started work on the Culebra Cut. We're still digging blocks. And now you, General, will accompany me on the inspection of the new block.
Look, Teddy, not to Panama.
We go some other time, yeah? So it's a long way off.
Nonsense! It's just down in the cellar.
The cellar.
oh, we let him dig the Panama Canal in the cellar.
General Vogel, as President of the United States of America, as the Commander-in-Chief of the Army and the Navy, and the man who gave you this job, I demand that you accompany me on the inspection of the new block.
Well, Teddy, I do think it's time you go to bed.
Pardon me? Who are you?
I'm Woodrow Wilson. Go to bed.
No. No. You're not Wilson. but you do look familiar. Perhaps I've seen you before. Perhaps later.
Then this is your brother, Jonathan.
What?
Yes, he's had his face changed.
So that's it! A nature faker!
Well, perhaps you'd better go to bed, Teddy. And Jonathan and his friend have to go back to their hotel.
General Nichols, Inspector Canal. All right, Mr. President, we go to Panama.
Ah, Willie, yes! Come with me, General. It's down south, you know.
Oh, bon voyage!
Well, Aunt Tabby, I must correct your misapprehension. You speak of a hotel, but we have no hotel.
Well, then, straight here.
There's a very nice hotel, just 3 blocks.
Martha, this is my home.
But Jonathan, you can't stay here. We need our rooms.
You need them.
Yes, for our lodgers.
Are there lodgers in this house?
Oh, well, not yet, but we're very keen on having some.
Then my room is still free.
But Jonathan, there's no place for Dr. Einstein.
They'll share the room with me, son.
No, Jonathan, I'm afraid you can't stay here.
Dr. Einstein and I need a place to sleep. I'm sure you remember that this afternoon, as a boy, I could be very disappointed. Perhaps we'd better than...
Just overnight, Jonathan.
Now that that's settled, if you'll go and get my room ready. It only needs airing out. You'll have a most distinguished guest in Dr. Einstein. You don't appreciate his skill enough, but you will. In a few days, you'll have me looking like a whole different Jonathan. He can't operate on you here. Yes, once we get settled, once we're back in business. Oh, I forgot to tell you, we're turning grandfather's old laboratory to an operating room. We expect to be very busy.
But we will not let you turn this house into a hospital.
Oh, well, the hospital, heavens no. It'll be a beauty parlor.
Oh, Johnny! When I go into the canal, what do you think I find?
What?
Well, I find the Panama Canal. It's a hole that's Teddy dug. It is 6 feet long and 4 feet wide.
Down there.
Yes, it's almost as if they knew we were bringing Mr. Spinazzo. Now, I call that hospitality.
A rather good joke on my aunt's, living in a house with a body buried inside.
Well, how do we get him in here?
Yes, we can't just bring him into the door. I know. We'll wait until they go to bed, and then we'll bring him into the window.
Okay, just think, we've got a bed tonight.
Take it easy, doctor. Remember, you're operating tomorrow.
I fix you up beautiful.
Yes, you better. And you also better be sober this time. If you're not...
Jonathan, your room is ready.
Oh, we'll be right up. We're moving the car behind the house. Eddie, what are we going to do?
Well, we're not going to let them stay more than one night in this house, for one thing. And what would the neighbors think? People coming in here with one face and going out with another.
What are we going to do about Mr. Hoskins?
Oh, Mr. Hoskins, it can't be very comfortable for him in there. And he's been so patient, the poor dear. I suppose Teddy had better get Mr. Hoskins downstairs right away.
Abby, I will not invite Jonathan to the services.
Oh no, we'll wait until they've gone to bed and then come down for the services.
Ah, hello. General Goethals was very pleased. He said the canal was just the right size.
Teddy, there's been another yellow fever victim.
What? This will be a shock to the General.
Then we mustn't tell him about it.
But it's his department.
Teddy, we mustn't tell him about it. It would just spoil his visit.
No, Aunt Abby, I'm sorry. He must be told. Army regulations, you know.
No, Teddy, we must keep it a secret.
Yes.
A state secret.
Yes, a state secret.
Well, you have the promise of the President of the United States of America. Cross my heart and hope to die. Now, how are we going to keep it a secret?
Teddy, you go back down in the cellar, and when I turn out the lights, when it's all dark, you come back up and take the poor man down to the canal. Now go along, Teddy.
Yes. Well, you may announce the president will say a few words. Where is the poor devil?
He's in the window seat.
The window seat? It seems to be spreading. We've never had yellow fever over there before.
Martha, when Jonathan and Dr. Einstein come back, let's see if we can get them to go to bed right away.
Yes, then by the time they're asleep, we're going to be dressed for the services. Abby, I've never even seen Mr. Hoskins.
Oh, my goodness, that's right. You were out. Well, you just come right over and see him now. And he's really very nice looking. And considering he's a Methodist.
Oh, we're bringing the luggage through here.
Jonathan, your room's waiting for you. You can go right up.
Well, I'm afraid we don't keep Brooklyn hours, but you both can run along up to bed.
Well, and you must be very tired. Both of you, please don't go to bed this early.
Well, you should. It's about time I came home to take care of you both.
Well, I'll wait till you're up, then turn out the lights.
Another flight, Doctor.
Oh.
All right, Aunt Tabby. Run along, Aunt Martha.
I'll be right up.
All right. Hurry up. Now, Aunt Tabby, if you'll turn out the lights. Johnny? All right. House and bring him in. I'll stay here and open the window. No, but he's too heavy for me. You go out and push. I stay here and pull. And then we bring him down together to Panama. Fine. I'll go around the house and I'll feed him dirt. When I tap on the window, you open. All right? It's awfully dark in here. Careful. Watch your step. I can't see a scene. Oh, okay. Don't forget to shoot. This is what happens when things are built in the 1800s. Be more careful. Well, the shoe slipped. What do you want me to do?
door.
And why are you here? You chose a rather untimely moment for a social call.
I came to see Miss Abby and Miss Martha. I think you'd better explain what you are doing here.
Doctor, turn on the lights. We happen to live here.
You don't live here. I'm in this house every day. I've never seen you before.
Perhaps we better introduce ourselves. This is Dr. Einstein.
Dr. Einstein. I suppose you're going to tell me you're Frank.
I'm Jonathan Brewster.
Oh. You're Jonathan.
I see you've heard of me.
Yes, just this afternoon for the first time. Except there's another brother named Jonathan. Well, now that I know who you are, I'd better get going at least, since now, if you kindly unlock the door.
It all makes sense now. Just what did you mean by that? Why did you come here at this time of night?
I thought I saw someone crawling around the house. I suppose it was you.
You thought you saw someone prowling around the house.
Yes. Wasn't that your car?
You saw someone at the car.
Yes.
What was the man doing at the car?
I don't know. That's why I wanted to call Miss Abby. I wanted to tell her to call the police, but if that was you and that's your car, I don't need to bother her. I'll be running along now.
What else did you see?
Just that, that's all.
I think you're lying.
I think she tells the truth, yeah, Johnny?
I think that she's lying. Oh, okay. Prowling around the house this time of night. I think she's dangerous. She shouldn't be allowed around the house.
Hey, get your hands off me!
It will be a private hearing.
Teddy, tell these men who I am!
Well, let me see. Yes, that's my daughter, Alice.
No, Teddy!
What are you doing?
It was a sneak peek for a burglar. Go back to bed.
We'll call the police.
We have it handled. We've already called the police. Go back to bed.
Wilbur, where have you been?
The Nora-Bay's theater, and I should have known better. My God, I'm still there.
This is your brother Jonathan, and this is Dr. Einstein.
I've come home, Mortimer.
Jonathan, you always were a whore, but you have to look like one.
Easy, Johnny, easy.
And don't you two boys start quarreling again the minute you've seen each other.
There won't be a fight on Abby. Jonathan, you're not wanted here. Get out.
Actually, we've been invited to stay.
Not in this house.
Just for tonight.
I don't want him anywhere near me.
But we did invite them for tonight, and it wouldn't be very nice to go back on our word.
Fine, tonight, but first thing in the morning, out. Where are they sleeping?
We put them in Jonathan's old room.
That's my old room. I'm sleeping there. I'm here to stay.
Oh, Mortimer, we're so glad.
You sleep down here tonight, yeah, Johnny?
You bet your life you do.
You sleep on the sofa, and I sleep on the window seat.
Oh, the windows. Well, let's not argue about it. You know, the window seat's just fine for me tonight. I'll sleep on the window seat.
All this argument makes me think of a certain Mr. Spinalzo.
No, Mortimer, it's fine, really. We don't want to cause you all the trouble. It's not necessary. We'll have our things packed in a few, and you can have them all yourself.
Jonathan, your sudden consideration for me is very unconvincing.
We go to our room and pack our things.
Don't bother, Doctor.
Well, I think we pack our things.
All this conversation makes me realize I've lost track of Mr. Spinoza.
Who is this Mr. Spinalzo?
Just a friend of Johnny's that we have been looking for.
Well, don't bring anyone else in here.
Don't worry, Johnny. I'll tell you all about it while we pack our savings.
Mortimer, you don't have to sleep down here. I can go in with Martha, and you can take my room.
You're just wasting your...
Mortimer,
Oh, what's the matter with you?
I've almost been killed.
You've almost been... Abby, Martha.
No! Jonathan, he mistook her for a snake thief.
No, it's more than that. He's some kind of maniac, Mortimer. I'm afraid of him.
You're trembling, dear. Have you got any smelling salts?
No, but do you think some tea, coffee would...
Coffee. Make some for me, too. And some sandwiches. I haven't had any dinner. What were you doing going out at a time like this? Do you know what time it is? It's after 12. 12! Look, Elaine, you've got to go.
Why, you wanted some sandwiches for you both. It won't take a minute.
Mortimer, why don't you remember we wanted to celebrate your engagement? Oh yes, that's what we'll do. We'll open a bottle of wine, I'll make some sandwiches, we'll celebrate your engagement. Yes.
All right. No wine.
Mortimer, what is going on in this house?
What do you mean what's going on in this house?
You were supposed to take me to the theater and dinner. You called it off. Tonight, just after your brother tries to strangle me, you want to chase me back home again. You asked me to marry you. I said I would. And then you want to chase me back home. You kick me out of the house. Now listen, Mr. Brewster, before I go home, I want to know where I stand. Do you love me?
I love you very much, Elaine. In fact, I love you so much that I can't marry you.
Have you suddenly gone insane?
Not yet, dear, but it's only a matter of time. You see, insanity runs in my family. Hell, it practically gallops.
Mortimer, you have got to try harder than that.
No, dear, there's a strange taint in the Brewster blood.
Now, just because Teddy's a little...
No. It goes to the first Brewster. The one that crossed on the Mayflower. He was a violent man.
That's ancient history.
And grandfather. He tried out his patent medicines on dead people to be sure he wouldn't kill them.
He wasn't so crazy. Mortimer can make $1 million.
And Jonathan. You said it yourself. He's a maniac. He tried to kill you.
He's your brother, not you. I am in love with you.
And Teddy. You know, Teddy. He thinks he's Roosevelt. No, dear, no Brewster should marry. I know now that if I'd met my father in time, I'd have stopped him.
None of this proves that you're crazy. Take a look at your aunts, for instance. They're Brewsters, and they're the sanest, sweetest people I've ever met.
Well, even they have their peculiarities.
But what lovely peculiarities. Kindness, generosity, human sympathy.
Oh, there's another one.
There are plenty of others. You can't tell me anything about your aunt.
I'm not going to. Look, Elaine, you just go home, all right? Something's come up.
From where, Mortimer? We're here alone.
I know I'm acting irrationally, but, just put it down to the fact that I'm a mad Brewster.
If you think you're going to get out of this by pretending you're insane, you're crazy. Maybe you're not going to marry me, but I am going to marry you. I love you, you toad.
Well, if you love me so much, will you just get the hell out of here?
Walk me home, won't you? I'm afraid.
Afraid? A little walk to the cemetery? Good night, dear. I'll call you up in a day or two.
You critic!
Aunt Abby, Aunt Martha, come in here.
Yes, dear, what is it? Where's Elaine?
I thought you promised me you weren't going to let anyone in the house while I was gone.
Well, Jonathan just walked
No,
in.
I don't mean Jonathan.
Dr. Einstein was
I
with
don't
him.
mean Dr. Einstein either. Who is that in the window seat?
We told you, Mr. Hoskins.
It is not Mr. Hoskins.
Who can that be?
Aunt Abby, are you trying to tell me you've never seen this man before?
I certainly am. Why, this is a fine how do you do. It's getting so anybody thinks he can walk into this house.
Aunt Abby, don't try and get out of this. That's another one of your gentlemen.
Why, Mortimer, how can you say such a thing? That man's an imposter, and if he came here to be buried in our cellar, he's mistaken.
Well, he could have just gotten the idea from Mr. Hoskins. By the way, where is Mr. Hoskins?
He must have gone to Panama.
Oh, you buried him?
No, dear, not yet. He's just down there waiting for the services. Poor dear. We haven't had a minute, what with Jonathan in the house. Oh, dear. We've always wanted to hold a double funeral, but I will not read services over a total stranger.
A stranger? Aunt Abby, how can I believe you? There are 12 graves down there, and you admitted you poisoned them.
Yes, I did. But you don't think I'd stoop to telling a fib? Martha!
Ah, Mortimer, I'd like to have a word with you.
Well, that's great, because I've decided that a word is about all you'll have time for. You and your doctor friend will be leaving as quickly as possible.
I'm glad you've come to the conclusion that we can't possibly live under the same roof, but I'm afraid you've arrived at the wrong solution. Take your suitcase and get out.
Jonathan, you're beginning to bore me. You've had your one-night stand in Brooklyn. Move on.
Just because you've moved on from the back fence to the typewriter, don't think you've grown up. I just told you to take your things and leave. We're staying and you're leaving.
If you think I can be frightened, if you think there's anything I fear.
I've lived a strange life, Mortimer, but if there's one thing it has taught me, it is to fear nothing.
Martha, just look and see what's in that window seat.
Now, Aunt Abby. Jonathan, why don't you let Aunt Martha see what's in the window seat? Abby, I owe you an apology. Oh, and I have some fantastic news. Jonathan is just leaving now, and he's taking Dr. Einstein and their cold companion with them. Jonathan, you're my brother. You're a Brewster. So I'll give you the chance to escape and take the evidence with you. I mean, you can't ask for more than that, right? All right, in that case, I'm calling the police.
Don't reach for that telephone. Are you still giving me orders after seeing what's happened to Mr. Spinoza?
Spinoza! I knew he was a foreigner.
Remember, what happened to Mr. Spinoza can happen to you too.
Oh, hello, Miss Abby.
Officer O'Hara, is there something we can do for you?
I saw your lights were on. I was worried there might be sickness in the house. But you got company. I'm sorry I disturbed you.
No, come in.
Yes, come right in, Officer O'Hara. This is our nephew Mortimer.
Pleased to meet you.
And this is another nephew, Jonathan.
Pleased to make your acquaintance. Oh, must be nice having both nephews in the house. Are they going to stay for a while?
I'm staying. My brother Jonathan is just leaving now.
I've met you before.
Oh, I'm afraid not. And Jonathan hasn't been home for years.
I feel like I seen a photo of you somewhere.
I don't think so.
Yes, Jonathan, you'd better hurry. All your things are packed away, aren't they?
Oh, you'll be wanting to say your goodbyes. I'm sorry to disturb you. I'll be going.
Oh, no. At least stay until my brother goes. We're gonna have some coffee. Won't you join us?
I forgot the coffee.
And yes, I'll make some more sandwiches. I ought to know your appetite by this
Miss
time,
Martha,
Mr.
Miss
O'Hara.
Martha, please don't bother. I'm due to ring in a couple of minutes.
My brother's just going. Just go and join us for one cup. Sit down.
See, I feel like I recognize your brother. Have I seen him somewhere?
I don't think so.
He certainly reminds me of someone.
Oh, he probably looks like somebody you've seen in the movies.
The movies. Hate him. Bastard art. That's what Mother always says.
Yes, it's full of them. Wait, your mother said that?
Yeah, she was a stage actress. Perhaps you've heard of her. Peaches Latour.
That sounds like a name I've heard in a program. What did she play?
Well, big hit was Mud and Jeff. Played for 3 years. You know, I was born on tour the 3rd season.
Oh, you were?
Yeah, Sioux City, Iowa. I was born in my mother's dressing room at the end of the 2nd act, and Mother still made the finale.
What a trooper! I bet there's a good story in your mother. You know, I actually write about the theater.
So you're not Mortimer Brewster, the dramatic critic?
Yes, I am.
Well, I am certainly glad to meet you. You know, you and I, we're in the same line of business.
We are?
I'm a playwright! Oh, this being on the police force is just temporary.
How long have you been on the force?
12 years. But I'm collecting material for a play.
I'll bet it's a honey.
With all the drama I see being a cop, you got no idea what goes on in Brooklyn, Mr. Brewster.
I think I have.
Oh, say, what time you got?
10 after 1?
Oh, I gotta go, Mr. Brewster, but it was lovely meeting you.
Oh, well, O'Hara, on that play of yours. I may be able to help you. You would?
Say, it was my fate walking in here tonight, Mr. Brewster. Look, I'll tell you the plot. Year is 1891. It's dark.
Oh, okay, Jonathan, you better go now, right? Look, O'Hara, this has been great. I'm sure we'll meet up another time and talk about your play.
Not leaving now, Mr. Brewster.
Why not?
You just agreed to help me write my play. You and me are gonna write my play together.
I can't do that, O'Hara. I'm not really a creative writer.
I'll do the creating, you just put the words to it.
But O'Hara, that...
Oh, no, sir. Mr. Brewster, I'm not gonna leave this house till I tell you the plot.
Come on now, Mortimer.
No, don't try that. Look, O'Hara, how about you just go now, eh?
I can wait. I've been waiting 12 years.
Sorry I was so long.
Don't bring that in here. O'Hara, would you like to join us for a bite in the kitchen?
The kitchen.
Because Jonathan's leaving.
Oh, well, that's nice. Come along now, Officer O'Hara.
Sure you wouldn't mind eating in the kitchen, Mr. O'Hara.
Where else would you eat?
Goodbye, Jonathan. Nice to have seen you again.
Jonathan, I'm glad you came back to Brooklyn, because it gives me a chance to throw you right back at it. And the first one out is your boyfriend, Mr. Spinalzo.
Mr. Brewster, we can talk in here.
Coming right out.
I might have known you'd grow up to write a play with a policeman.
Just get out of here, all three of you.
Doctor, this affair between my brother and I has got to be settled.
Johnny, we have trouble enough, yeah? Your brother gives us a chance to get away. What more could you ask?
You don't understand. This goes back years.
Johnny, let's get going.
No, we're staying right here tonight.
Johnny, there's a cop in the kitchen and Mr. Spinalzo and a now broken window seats.
That's all they've got on us. We'll find some way to deal with the window seat, and we'll take Mr. Spinalzo out to the bay and leave him there. We'll come right back here and nothing's happened. If he tries to interfere...
Oh, Johnny!
Doctor, you know when I've made up my mind.
Yes, when you make up your mind, you lose your head. Brooklyn is the right place for you.
Doctor!
Okay, we stick together. You know, someday we get stuck together. But if we're coming back here, do we have to take these with us?
No, hide them in the cellar. Spinalzo can go out the same way he came in. Move fast.
Johnny. You remember that hole in the cellar?
Yes.
Guess what?
What?
We've got an ace in the hole. Come here, turn quick.
Jonathan!
Yes, Mortimer.
Jonathan, where have you two been? I thought I told you to get going.
No, I think we're staying here tonight.
Oh, you think I'm not serious, huh? Do you want O'Hara to find out what's in that window seat?
I told you we're staying here.
All right, fine. This gets me rid of you and O'Hara at the same time. O'Hara, come.
If you tell O'Hara what's in the window seat, I'll tell him what's down in the cellar.
The cellar?
Yeah, there's an elderly gentleman down there who appears to be very, how do you say it, dead.
What were you doing in the cellar?
What was he doing down in the cellar?
Mr. Brewster, Told your aunts about the play. They love it. Let me get him in here. I'll tell you about the plot.
No, but don't you have to ring in?
Oh, to hell with bringing in Mr. Brewster. Let me get my aunts out here, tell you the plot.
No, but O'Hara and I in front of all these people. How about we meet up together alone sometime later?
Back with my Kellys?
Fine. Just go ring in and meet me at Kelly's, all right?
Why don't you two go down in the cellar?
That's fine with me. Is that the cellar?
No. Listen, just go ring in and meet me at Kelly's.
All right, that should only take a couple minutes. See ya.
Okay, I'm gonna ditch this guy. I'll be back in 5 minutes. I expect to find you two gone when I'm back. Actually, wait for me.
We have him right wherever you want to. Oh, did he look guilty?
Yes, we'll wait for him right here, Doctor. Go up and pack our things.
Have they come? We thought we heard somebody leave.
Oh, that was just Mortimer. He'll be back in a few. Say, Dr. Einstein and I aren't quite famished. Is there something to eat in the kitchen, perhaps?
But you won't have time.
No, if you're still here when Mortimer gets back, he won't like it.
Oh, he'll like it. He's got to like it. Yes, and you'll grab us something to eat while we finish burying Mr. Spinazzo.
Oh no, he can't stay in our cellar. And no, Jonathan, you've got to take him with you.
Oh, he'll be fine. There's a friend of Mortimer's down there to keep him company. They're both dead.
A friend of Mortimer's.
You must mean Mr. Hoskins. Mr. Hoskins? Know about what's down in the cellar?
Of course we do. And he's no friend of Mortimer's. He's one of our gentlemen.
You're a gentleman?
And we won't have any strangers buried in our cellar.
But Mr. Hoskins, he isn't a stranger.
And besides, there's no room for Mr. Spinazzo. And the cellar's crowded already.
Crowded with what?
There are 12 graves down there now.
12 graves?
That leaves very little room, and we're going to need it.
You've murdered!
Murdered? Certainly not. It's one of our charities.
Why, what we've been doing is a mercy.
So you just take your Mr. Spinazzo out of here.
You'll think you've done all that in this house down there.
Johnny, we have been chased all over the world, and they stay right here in Brooklyn and do just as good as we do.
No, don't mistake. They have 12 bodies. I have 13.
No, Johnny, you have 12.
No, I have 13. There's Spinazzo, and the first time in London, and the two in Johannesburg, and the one in Melbourne, and the one in Sydney, and then the two in San Francisco, and the one in Arizona.
Phoenix.
Yes, the filling station. And then there were the 3 in Chicago, and the one in South Bend, Indiana.
No, the one in South Bend don't count. He died of pneumonia.
He wouldn't have gotten pneumonia if I hadn't shot him first.
No, Johnny, I'm the doctor here. He died of pneumonia.
He counted me. I say 13.
No, Johnny, you have 12 and the old ladies have 12. They do just as good as you do.
Well, if that's the case, then all I need is just one more. Just one more.
Well, here I